Basic supplies for crochet: yarn, darning needle, scissors, stitch markers and crochet hooks. Choosing the yarn and the size of the hook. On your yarn label, it will have information like the colour, the dye lot, the name on this one is also visible. It will also have information like this is a 50-gram ball which has about 75 meters. These are the washing and care instructions. Also tells you the length in yards. It tells you that this is 100% cotton material. 4 here is the width, but I also know myself that this is Aran weight yarn. And it also tells you the size of the hooks and the knitting needles that are needed. It says here that for knitting needles you need a 5mm needle gauge, and for crochet it's got a little 5mm hook there as well. Now on your hook itself it should have the gauge number here. So this one's a 4mm. So as this asks for a 5mm, we can find a 5mm hook, which is here somewhere in my stash. Go. Here is a 5mm hook which matches the yarn. Let's get started. So first of all, we're going to make a slip knot. What you do is you take the end of the yarn here, and the way I do it is I wrap it around 2 fingers like so, let it hang out the back, and take my fingers out, and I'm holding it, and I put my fingers through the hole, pull up the long bit of the yarn that's on the ball, pull that through, pull it tight, and that is our slip knot. This is the slip knot in which the crochet hook fits into, and then you pull the long ball part which is attached to the yarn ball, you pull that tight, and that means that's where you start. Now, one of the key features about getting confident in doing crochet is how you hold the yarn. Now, this depends on your experience. It depends on the kind of material you're using, whether you use this is an aluminium hook, but if you were to use a wooden one, it might have more resistance, which would help. But the key feature is how you hold the yarn in this hand. The way I hold it is I weave it through my fingers, a little bit like I'm wearing a ring, and then I'll bring it up and pull it through, over, and then the middle finger and your thumb you use to hold the tail and pull that tight, and that's how we hold it. And you want to try and keep your pointer finger up. It will start to slack, and that's where you won't have enough tension here to pull the yarn through. If that is too gapey, you won't be able to do it. So practice that. I think when I first started, I would sometimes weave the yarn a couple of times around my little finger before I did it like this, because it would help give a bit more tension. So once again, the way I do this is I pull it through the middle finger and over the pointer finger. So it's a little bit like this from the front, and this is how it looks from the back. And then I hold from the middle finger and thumb come together here to hold on to this, and you're pulling this down a bit, and that's how you get ready to start. Okay, so we're holding our yarn correctly, we've got the correct hook and the correct yarn. So how do you make the chain stitch? This is what you do. So you're holding it, you've got your tension, you pull the crochet hook underneath and wrap it round, and then I would keep your hook pointing downwards with the notch facing downwards. So underneath the yarn, and then as it's wrapped around, you pull it through the hoop, through the loop that you already have. So now we have a new loop. And one thing you want to do is, as you're moving along, you will want to keep letting go of this and moving your fingers closer to the top. This allows you to pull the tension here in the yarn. It's all about where you're holding the tension. If you have the right tension, you can do it. One common mistake I've seen people make, which I made at the beginning too, is very normal to happen, is that this here, the loop that's already on your hook here gets very tight, and then when you're trying to pull it through, it feels really, really tight. And as you get practiced at this, you will learn to keep this slightly higher so that you can easily pull the new loop through the existing one. And as you get comfortable, you will slowly get more and more comfortable with the tension, and it will become even. It's very usual that when you first start, the crochet stitches can be too tight and too loose and very uneven. This is normal. I would say keep practicing this technique. Once you have this technique down, you will feel more comfortable to do all the other techniques, because all crochet really is pulling loops through loops, and it's just the number of loops that you're pulling it through. And as you get more comfortable, the tension here will even out, and the technique is all about the tension here in the yarn and with your hands, and keeping this finger up. Once you've got that, you'll start to feel more comfortable, and you can see as I'm pulling this through and I'm creating chains, I have to let go and move and adjust my fingers higher up so I can continue having control over the yarn. So how do you make